And as usual, we have Bloggers Blurb here in the second intermission. Josh Lockhart come over to talk about everything in general. And some hockey, maybe.
Everything in what?
You're here to talk about everything in general and
Oh, everything in general.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear the general
it's
part.
Not just about tonight's hockey
Okay.
game. It's about stuff.
So, yes, fair enough.
Okay,
Yeah.
so your thoughts on the hockey game tonight?
I've been enjoying it. It's been very quick in terms of not a lot of stoppages in play. It got a little bit slow there to end the second, but it's been a very quick game.
Yes, it has.
Part of it is not a lot of penalties being called, but I've definitely been enjoying it, been impressed with how Campbell Arnold has been doing after last game where 13 were scored against him. He's been very impressive tonight for me.
It's a lot easier to stop the puck when you've got 17 or 18 skaters in front of you that are helping you out,
yes,
and they're not all tired.
As opposed to like 12 the last time. Yes.
Although the Dynamiters have dominated, they've had 35 shots against Arnold, and Anderson, albeit he's had 10 shots, but out of those 10 shots, there have been 4 golden opportunities. They scored on one of them. So the Braves have been taking advantage of their opportunities, but they'll have to get a few more pucks towards Anderson if they want to get back in the hockey game.
Yeah, and keep in mind that they have that quickness to them because they scored like 20 seconds or 26 seconds into that second period and on their the first shot of the period too. So they do have that ability to cash in on those limited chances.
Yeah, and that's where Bammer made a mistake at the offensive blue line. The defenseman got past him and beat him to the puck into the corner and got a shutout to his defensive partner, number 8, Alex Enegren. So the 2 defensemen on the goal for the Braves. And they beat all the Dynamiters back into the defensive zone for the Dynamiters.
Yeah. So good for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So power rankings, I know we didn't talk about those last time because you hadn't done it.
No, and I'm sorry to report, but I still haven't done them because I've been, like I told you about the fan ranking that I did.
Yes.
And I've been working on...
by the way, the fan ranking on the website, the print is very small. And even though I wear glasses, I had trouble reading it.
You got to click it to make it bigger, and then you can zoom in.
I did zoom in quite a bit.
Well, I'm sorry that it was so small. But there's also a lot of information jam-packed in there, more than I do with the power rankings. So another reason why I haven't gotten to the power rankings is 2 reasons. One is I've been recruited to help out with the Mind Right program, which is that peer-to-peer mental health support that Miles Matilla from Kelowna Chiefs is putting together.
Okay.
So how they're getting things set up right now is kind of, I don't know how to explain it except like a kind of chain of command. So they want each team to have a representative, like a peer-to-peer representative, preferably a player. And then each division will have an ambassador that those peer-to-peer supports can go to if they feel a little overwhelmed.
Okay.
So I've been recruited as one of the ambassadors, the first one for our league.
Okay.
It's for the Eddie Mountain division. So that's been on my plate. And then I'm getting set up the voting process for the unofficial All-Star picks for the KIJHL.
Unofficial because there's no All-Star game.
Correct. And unofficial because usually I get media people, or not usually, I have gotten media people in the past to participate in it.
Right.
So what's made this year different, instead of like just emailing people and asking them for their votes, since there's now kind of this larger group of individuals that have networked together that are KIJHL media, I've had to create like a Survey Monkey thing. So so that's been there. The one thing we didn't talk about though was the top stories for the Dynamiters in 2018 and the top stories in the KIJHL for 2018. I don't know if you want to do...
Sure, let's talk about the top stories.
Okay.
My top story for the Dynamiters is their performance. The Dynamiters
that's very general.
Yeah, well, no. The Dynamiters were a quote-unquote rebuilding this year. They had a fantastic team last year, went down to the Cyclone Taylor Cup, and I thought they would be competitive, but I didn't think that they would be far out in front of their division, and odds-on favorite to be the first overall in the conference.
Absolutely. You and I did not have them picked for number 1 in our division when we made our
Indeed. So that's my top story for 2018 for the Dynamiters.
Right.
What's your top story for the Dynamiters?
So I was a little bit more like specific in terms of like headlines. So my top story was winning the KIJHL championship in Revelstoke. That for me was their top.
In March or April of 2018.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's a good story because I'm thinking of the season, the current season versus the
so
year.
I went with the calendar year 2018.
Yes.
Maybe that'll open up some options for you.
I think that's a terrific option because although the Dynamiters expected to do well, they did. I have to think that they achieved most of their goals.
Yes.
I thought their overriding goal, because they knew they were going to have a good club, is that they would actually win the Cyclone Taylor Cup. So winning the KIJHL was certainly the stepping stone that they had as one of their goals. And they fell short. They finished winning the bronze in the Cyclone Taylor Cup, which is still very acceptable.
Absolutely. You're third in the province.
It was just interesting that the two teams that were expected to fight it out in the gold medal game were fighting it out in the bronze medal game.
Yes, definitely.
and the hometown team won the gold medal. So that was
which surprisingly, there's been a lot of success for the host team in the tournament. They've usually medaled.
Indeed, and part of that I believe is the same thing when the Dynamiters hosted the Cyclone Taylor Cup. They lost in the second round of the league playoffs.
Right.
Rested up for 3 or 4 weeks and had a really strong Cyclone Taylor Cup, narrowly coming in second place to the Chilliwack. I don't know, the Chilliwack Bruins.
Oh, I don't remember. This is before my time
anyway,
here.
So they ended up second against an outstanding club from Chilliwack. So again, the home team does have an advantage, especially if they lose in their own playoff system. Because that gives them a chance to heal up and to rest up. Because as you know, the KIJHL in particular have to play four rounds of playoffs to get to the Cyclone Taylor Cup, and all of them are 7 games. So,
and usually you're playing like 4 games a week.
Exactly. So coming out of this league, and generally speaking, there's not a lot of time to rest up between the Cyclone Taylor Cup and the KIJHL finals.
No, I believe for us it was like a 2 or 3 day turnaround.
Yes.
From winning to then getting to the Cyclone Taylor Cup.
Exactly.
Which is ridiculous. But the Cyclone Taylor Cup for me was number 2 story of the year for the Dynamiters.
All right.
Number 3. So I did 10 stories, just so you know.
You did 10 stories?
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you 10.
I know. Was the training camp this year during the evacuation alert, just because of the kind of... It was an interesting time for everyone who lived in Kimberley being on evacuation alert. And there was some impact on turnout at the training camp.
Okay.
So that was the top story. And then just to round out the top 5, just because I'm noticing time, and then maybe we can touch on top stories in the KI, is Bryce McDonald's injury, just how unfortunate that was, and then Chase Gedney being named captain. So there's 5 other ones in there. So you can go check out my blog for more, or the Kimberley Bulletin, or whatever.
Exactly. Okay, so KIJHL. Top story, I think, would be the performance of 2 teams that, generally speaking, are strong, and this year are surprisingly weak. One being the Castlegar Rebels, the second being the Crescent Valley Thundercats. 2 teams that I expected to be extremely competitive in their division, and I think I might even given Creston second or first spot in our division, and it's unlikely now that they're going to make the playoffs. So, and the same thing with the Castlegar Rebels. They've had a dismal season as per their standards, and it does look like they're going to make the playoffs. So that's my KIJHL number 1 story, is the performance of those 2 teams, and the surge, I guess, on the flip side, of the Columbia Valley Rockies, the Golden Rockets, and the Spokane Braves, and the Grand Forks Border Bruins, all getting competitive in their divisions.
So how I have the stories here is they're not necessarily mine, but we polled the fan base and asked them to pick their top 3 stories of the year, and then it created like a top 10 list. So what you're talking about with the Golden Rockets, like how they won more games this season than they have the previous 3 seasons.
Put
all put together. Yeah, right. Like amazing.
Yep.
That was the 7th most voted story in the KIHL. Oh, posing for a picture. But the number 1 voted story was the mandated cages.
Big story.
Oh yeah.
Big story. And from what I've seen, the thing that I worried about most of all about the mandated cages was sticks above the shoulders.
Yeah.
And to be perfectly honest, I don't know what the stats are, but I haven't seen a lot of it. There's been some high sticking, but generally speaking, there's not, in my opinion, there hasn't been a real issue with players protecting themselves by carrying their sticks way too high.
Oh, do I have stats for you
You're a
on that
man.
one?
You're a numbers man. Okay.
So last year, there were. So let's just go. So the 2-minute penalties, like for high sticking or slashing and those kind of things, or just looking at stick infractions, there wasn't much change. There was 182 by this point.
But you're talking about stick penalties, not necessarily just high sticking.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So the ones where we saw the biggest increase, though, was in boarding. So we had 7 boarding calls last year, 24 this year. I guess up until the Christmas break. These are where I got the numbers from. Head contact was 10 last year and 24 this year. Up again from start of the season to Christmas break, both years.
And I can see where that might happen and that might be part and parcel with the cages as well.
Yeah.
Boarding, I think, is just the fact that
it's hard to say, but it's just one of those things that stood out. So there is a lot of debate. Now, of course, the goal was to weed out fighting. There were 24 fighting majors in Dynamiters games last year up to this point, whereas there's only been 5 this year.
Yep.
So that was the number 1 story in the KIJHL as voted by the fans.
And I can see that being an important story.
Yeah.
I'll go along with that.
Yeah. Did you want to know one more?
Sure.
How are we doing for time?
We got
a minute. The other one was the impact of the Humboldt Broncos felt in the KIJHL.
Okay.
And then Terry Jones winning his 1,000th game. That was number 3.
In Beaver Valley?
Yeah.
Okay. So what impact do the fans think that the Humboldt Broncos had on the KIJHL?
Well, so I think
we have a player, Brett Anderson, who tried out for the Humboldt Broncos,
right,
and came here, and he is now a Dynamiter goaltender.
Yeah. So I think there's connections like that. The other piece is there was a former KIJHL player on that team.
Oh, okay.
Who played for the Nighthawks. And then the other piece is it was very easy to identify who that was on the bus on your own team. So, for example, like when it came out about the stats guy, like my mom called me up and was like, that could have been you on the bus, right? So it was those kind of things is where it was personal. So
okay, we'll have to leave
on that note, we'll have to leave it there. Yeah.
Josh Lockhart, thanks for coming by. And
my pleasure.
We'll get ready for the third period. The teams are scoring 5-on-5. Dynamiters enjoying a 3-1 lead as we start this third period.
It's going to be a good one.